In between rambling about Metal Gear Solid and playing with my dick, I like to make fun of Adam for being a massive weeb. This isn't necessarily fair, because while I don't consider myself big on anime, I do watch a decent amount of it. Not just that mainstream Dragon Ball Z stuff either, but shows like Super Dope, Zetsubo Sensei. Go down the street, be like, check this out, I'ma go Super Saiyan. And people will be like, yeah. Ask them if they like, Nozuki Itachi. And they'll be all like, was that? Sorry, I don't. Anyway, one of the more recent anime I watched was Gatchaman Crowds. I don't know much about the original Gatchaman, Pasatuna vs. Capcom. And the porn. From what I understand, it's a Sentai show that essentially wrote the book on Sentai shows. Anyway, I hopped into Lady Gaga Crowds without any idea about the original Gatchaman. But that's okay, because this show has jack shit to do with that.
Except for several things or some shit I don't know when Peter realized that. Well, I guess it's fuck you, I can go wherever I want.
So I pulled the anime up, and I'm greeted with one of the best openings I've seen in a long time. Like, holy shit, I love this opening. It's just so stylish. And the music is really good too. Good music is actually a bit of a constant in this show. It has a great soundtrack, and I was actually listening to it as I wrote this review. The opening has a lot of cool foreshadowing that makes you go, oh shit! After reaching certain points of the show. One thing the opening shows off is everyone's transformation, which is a little bit of a misdirection. Okay, I'm gonna go into some, minor details, nothing big, but if you want to go in with a perfectly clean slate, get out now. Go. Gone? Okay, Gatchaman Crowds, despite technically being a Sentai, doesn't actually feature that much fighting. Don't get me wrong, there are a few fight scenes here and there, and most of them are pretty alright, but that's not what Gatchaman Crowds is about. There's actually a lot of things in Crowds that surprise me. First and foremost, the protagonist is actually female, which isn't all that common in Sentais. Usually the main character is male, and that type of character is one of the first people we meet. The show opens with Sugane Tachibana hunting down, Rubik's Cube? Is that what's going on? He's got, katana and stuff, because he's probably a closet weeb who follows the code of the samurai, much like our very own Adam. Anyway, Sugane is very much the straight man of the team, but cut to our real protagonist, Hajime Ichinose, doing, The next big subversion here is that Hajime doesn't seem like a typical Sentai protagonist, which she isn't. She's goofy as hell. But as the series goes on, she actually turns out to be pretty intelligent, and it's pretty cool how she makes things work out. Anyway, Hajime meets a creepy old guy who shoves his hand into her chest, turning her into a Gatchaman. Then we're introduced to the rest of the gang. Joe Hibiki, no relation to Dan, who sits around smoking a cigarette as he broods mysteriously. Then there's OD, an effeminate fellow who's perhaps the only other friendly face in the group. He can't transform for, reasons, so he jokes about being useless. I like this guy a lot, and he turns out to be really cool as the series goes on. After that you have Utsutsu, whose initial character traits involve wearing virtually nothing at all, and finally, we have Pieman, a panda-like alien and the leader of the Gatchaman group. He's a hot-headed little guy with some, alcohol issues. It's this mismatched group of people who are responsible for protecting Earth from otherworldly dangers. As the group deals with protecting Earth, this person does some vigilanteing themselves. But behind the scenes with the Galax program, a mobile phone app that gives people advice and answers, and tells nearby incidents to capable peoples. Meanwhile, this, boy, mysteriously parades about, causing chaos wherever they go, kissing people to transform them. This guy's actually pretty creepy, and he seems to have ties to this person. It's actually really cool how Hajime tackles this shit. It's neat seeing how she affects the cast as the series goes on. Gatchaman Crowds is more akin to Haruhi Suzumiya than it is to, well, Power Rangers or Kamen Rider. But I love it. It's one of the few anime that can make me laugh out loud, and the interactions between all the characters are really endearing. This is one of those shows where I'd put it on, look at the time, and notice 4 hours just passed. Okay, maybe not that much, since that'd be over half the series. Gatchaman Crowds is pretty short, with a total of 12 episodes. This isn't inherently bad, since it stops the show's plot from having to drag on to fill up space. However, its length does become a problem in the last 2 episodes. They feel super rushed, and there's a reason for that. The guys making it wanted to have 13 episodes, but for whatever reason, they were only allowed 12. So half of episode 11 is a recap, and episode 12 is a confusing mess of events. Luckily, the Blu-ray of the series has a director's cut of the final episode, which I haven't seen yet since the Blu-ray came out pretty recently when I wrote this review. God, choo choo choo, I'm a train! Took me by surprise. A show I went in expecting to be an alright Sentai turned out to be a really good, somewhat action-y, superhero-y themed slice of life-ish thing. The show's got hard up the ass, and I love every character in it. Granted, the original ending was rushed and confusing, but that doesn't stop me from enjoying the show as a whole. Plus, there's that director's cut ending I get to look forward to, and a second season that's been recently greenlit. If you want to watch the show legally, you can catch it on Crunchyroll. It's also licensed by Sentai Filmworks, who unfortunately are known by their,
Could it be Brother June? Come on, dude!
less than stellar dubbing work. Either way, you can also look forward to that if you want to support crowds. I seriously recommend checking this show out. I give it Tiny Alcoholic Panda Man out of 5.